Okay, welcome everyone to the Jupiter-Neptune cycle inner astrology masterclass. Expand your visions and break limiting spells. Yes, that's really important. Okay, and that's one of the things I hope that you get to work with me today on. So let's take a breath and just, first of all, I always love to ground ourselves in the land we're in and also the ancestor spirits that are present on the land and in your lineage, the ones that you feel comfortable with. So let's just take a moment to get in our bodies. And you all know me, if you want to go ahead and stretch, let yourself kind of arrive, really feel your feet on the earth, no matter where you are. And let's just each take a moment to breathe a couple of times consciously. Let that breath come in. And also anchor yourself in your environment. If you're in a room, like look around, just notice windows and doors and where you are. And also if you can see anything outside where you are, to acknowledge, whether you see it or not, the land that is holding you. And just be with your heart to acknowledge the privilege of being alive and the beautiful earth that holds us, no matter if you're in the city or rural, wherever you are in the world. And then let's do a threshold moment. I love those threshold moments where we really transition and say, okay, we're going in for an hour and a half with each other in this exploration. So if you can, turn off your other devices and tabs. Really let yourself have a very good personal supportive space. Most of you already know how to do that, but just take some time like, I'm here, okay? And then recognize everything that I offer you in this masterclass is totally choice-based. Don't do anything that doesn't feel comfortable. And then I'm going to pause in a moment and actually come on with all of you, because we do like to do the 3 C's of online community, which is honoring confidentiality. Anything shared here in the larger group or in small groups, we hold in our hearts with confidentiality. We honor the courage that each of us carries to keep showing up to our lives and be willing to work with our edges. That's incredibly courageous work. And then finally, compassion for us and all beings in this enormous, huge cauldron of change and initiation that we're on collectively and personally. Very, very important. So let me get back on. Okay, we just did our beautiful threshold. It's 3 C's with our community. Okay, so another threshold practice, and this is really simple, and it's a 3 breath process. And I invite you to do it. Most of you are familiar with me. It's going to be experiential, people, right? So first of all, just get yourself really comfortable sitting or standing or lying down, and 3 conscious breaths. And the first breath, really breathe in the earth energy. Feel the connection to Mother Earth, the grounding energy coming up to every cell you're breathing. Breathe in that beautiful earth energy. And then exhale and just let things go. The earth is a great composter. Just drop anything you don't need. And second conscious breath, breathe in the sky. Bring in the sky, the expansiveness, no matter what your weather is, whether you see the sky or not, just bring in the expansiveness and openness of the sky into every cell of your being. And then exhale, give your energy out. If it feels right, just give it to the expansive sky. And then third breath into your heart. Breathe into your heart deeply and fully. Breathe in love to every cell of your being. Gratitude if it feels right. And exhale, breathe out love. And just let yourself be here, feeling that threshold moment with the breath. Thank you. Now, one of my favorite quotes from Deepak Chopra: one of the keys to harnessing the potentially unlimited power of the mind is to expand your level of self-awareness. And being with both Jupiter and Neptune as archetypes are really supportive to open up your awareness on all levels. Beliefs, understanding, meaning making. Jupiter and Neptune open up your awareness to multi-worlds and many dimensions of reality. So they're great allies for expansion on both levels. And here's a couple of key points I'm going to cover in the training today. is to explore the teacher and visionary in you from the lens of astrology. So very brief review of archetypes, including how Jupiter and Neptune are seen archetypally as the teacher, wise one, and the dreamer, visionary. And then we'll link with your astrological Jupiter and Neptune, where they were in your birth chart at the moment of your birth, and you had some preparation to do to be able to be with that. If you didn't get to it, no problem. In the moment, you'll be with it. And then we're going to look at the current Jupiter-Neptune cycle, which is really key. It's one of the most important cycles of 2022. A little bit of explanation on that. And then we'll go into some experiential practices to explore how you want to seed your greatest dreams and visions, and to lean into breaking the spells of blame and victimization that are the wounded parts of these archetypal energies. And then we have a little bit of time for Q&A. So that's what we're up to for today. I'll stop here for a moment. Okay, so now just really briefly reminder with archetypes. From a spiritual perspective, a planet symbolizes an archetype, a universal principle or force that expresses in the human psyche and societal behavior on many levels. And you've heard me explain this. You can look at archetype as arc first, type, model. These are energies that have been present since the beginning of time for humans and are inherent in our collective existence, often found in the imaginal realm. Our images, our poetry, our dreams, our metaphors, very potent collective beings that show up in multiple ways. Astrology is just one of the ways, and yet astrology is a powerful way to explore archetypes through the planetary energies, particularly through your own chart as they show up for you. So we're going to explore, with Jupiter and Neptune coming together in the heavens right now, we're going to expand your faith and visions with these two, because that's really what these archetypes carry. And they really help us to activate our dreams and also to address some of the wounded parts of these archetypal energies in us and in the world, to break spells of victimization and blame. So I'm just going to review briefly the archetype. This is my lens, but any of you who know astrology, I'm pretty in alignment with basic astrology understanding. So Jupiter is this big gas planet in our solar system, and see it as the teacher or wise one. It brings us the gift of expansion, opening up. It is that big character in the solar system, bigger than life on many levels. And this one of you really expands your consciousness, tracks your deeper meanings, wants to share your unique wisdom and knowing, and helps you question some of your entrenched beliefs. The wounded side, or the difficult side of Jupiter in all of us, is dogmatism. We get in our sort of soapbox about my truth is it, and certainly we have more than enough of that in our world right now. So when we go to explore Jupiter, we want to look at not only our great wisdom and our expansion, but also do a little work with, where am I caught in possible dogmatism or entrenched beliefs? We'll have a chance to look at that. And then Neptune is the dreamer visionary, this watery planet, very amorphous. It's named after the god, or the deity of the oceans. And it brings us the gift of vision and connection to alternate realities. The Neptune in you, this archetype in you, the dreamer visionary, connects to your visions and your imagination, your mystical side, and helps you to look at illusions and self-deception. The wounded side of Neptune is where we put ourselves under a spell. We get caught, we lose ourselves in something that's an unhealthy, altered state. But also the Neptune part of us is constantly wanting to go beyond ordinary reality. It's longing for the mysteries. It's longing for this altered state of consciousness, and dissolves. That's what the image is. It dissolves regular consensus reality. So it's a really inspiring archetype, and it can be a very destabilizing archetype, where we lose our sense of regular reality in a way that can be challenging. So I want to help you review in this moment. And if you didn't get a chance to do that homework, the preparation, you can just look at it right now. Is if you had a chance to look at Jupiter and Neptune through this lens of astrology, whether you know your chart or not, what did you discover about the relationship between your inner wise one, that Jupiter part of you questing to learn and grow, and your inner dreamer's desire to merge with a greater mystery? It's not so much getting an answer, but as you activated your connection to these characters, what did you discover? So I want to stop here for a moment. Thank you. Okay, we just had a really robust community conversation about what some of the deep insights that people have met in their engagement with Jupiter and Neptune in their own chart. And I hope that's true for all of you watching this as a recording. So let's really anchor you in the cycle of what's called Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Those of you that know astrology, the conjunction is at 24 degrees. One time only this year, April 12th, just had it. And I just want to stop and say this is really key. This is the biggest cycle, astrological cycle of 2022. And even though it occurs once mathematically, it kind of is a theme for the whole year. So what I'm showing you is the image of the big gas planet, Jupiter, expanding beliefs, and the visionary, watery gas planet, Neptune. They come together in the heavens. And so what we get the opportunity to do with these archetypes through the experience of the astrology cycle is to open up and expand the visions and also be tracking the unhealthy belief systems, particularly victim or martyr consciousness. Now, Jupiter and Neptune come together every 13 years. So it's a little bit of a rare cycle. And right now they're in Pisces, and I'm going to show you in a moment an image of what that means. So from our perspective on the Earth, both of them are together with the backdrop of Pisces. It looks a bit like this. This is not to scale. I always say that, those of you who work with me. So you can see this image of the zodiac wheel. From our perspective on the Earth, the star wheel, the zodiac wheel, is like a roulette wheel that turns around us from our perspective. And the planets are like balls moving in that roulette wheel. So a moment in time, like now, April of 2022, it looks like Neptune and Jupiter are together in the heavens with the backdrop of Pisces, those sacred fish swimming in different directions. So what does that mean? So Pisces as a sign is an energetic expression. It's a water sign. It's visionary and empathetic. It's artistic. It's compassionate and is drawn to altered states. When planets are in Pisces, those archetypes are really moving in multiple realities. And they're very fluid and they're deeply emotional and intuitive. So there's this seeding of this strong, visionary, revelatory, visionary time now that we're in. And it's seed point because they're coming together now in Pisces. And that will be like we're seeding something in a way we'll all be exploring for the next 13 years. So before we look at what's coming, let's do a little review, and this is very short for you to look at. Just taking a few minutes to jot down. Last time Jupiter and Neptune were together was in 2009, May to December, and they came together between 24 and 20 degrees of Aquarius. Those of you who know your chart and you want to put it in your chart and look at it. So let's just take a couple of minutes jotting down or just thinking about, you could start with, where was I living in 2009? What relationship was I in? Do I remember the job I had? And just sort of tune into anything you perceive that got seeded in an expanded visionary way in 2009. So we'll pause here and just take, and I'm going to include it with the, actually, if you're watching the recording, pause right now and then come back in a couple minutes after you've done this review. Those of you live, just go ahead and take some time. I'll call you back. So beautiful. Here in the live call, we're having some people put in the chat what they noticed that they started or what got seeded in 2009, particularly about expansion and growth or new beliefs. And that's so helpful because you can also take a look at, as this new Jupiter-Neptune cycle begins in 2022, partly what's happening, because it's a bit like the past and the future come together here. You can also take some time to honor, wow, what am I harvesting from the last 13 years? What did I seed, relationships, work, whatever, and then am I seeing kind of the harvest? Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So just seeing, thank you all for sharing in the chat, and just you can be with that. Yeah, that's great. Wonderful what all you're doing. I'm not saying anything on the recording. Again, you want to come live for some of the treasures that come in the live call, but also respect if you're coming by recording. So glad you're here. Okay, so let's keep going. And I want to just note that this is really, we're going to look with these questions in the next, I'm going to give you some experiential practices, but sort of setting it up. So the growth opportunities with this new seed point of Jupiter-Neptune is two really simple questions, but they're very deep. What new visions and intuitive abilities want to grow? You know, that's the expansion of that Neptunian Pisces. Where are you noticing visions, intuitive callings that want to grow? And then what old victimization and escapist patterns want to go? You know, so there's this also stewardship of that Jupiterian belief systems and dogmas. And this is something just in the moment, you can jot something down. You'll have plenty of time. You can go back and look at the recording and do a lot more journaling, but just off the cuff, sort of in this moment, what are you tracking already as a new impulse, a new vision, something intuitively opening you up? Just note whatever comes, just first thing, you know, just a couple things. And then what are you honing in on is a mindset or a pattern, a belief system around escapism or victimization that you're recognizing, I'd like to shift this. So again, let's just take a couple of minutes. I'll stop the recording, but take a few minutes, those of you watching this as a recording, to just sort of note this down, just jot down what first comes to you. I need just remember to record. Okay, so I'm going to set you up for this journey with your inner wisdom ways of knowing, or your four windows of knowing. And if you've not done that before, it's fine. Just trust the process and go into it. And what this is, an opportunity, is to take something you identified about an old belief or an old victim pattern, or just a recognition like, this is an old way of thinking that really is too small for who I am right now, and I'd like to let it go. And we're going to allow you to expand just your understanding about that. It's not like you're getting an answer, but you're just opening up other ways of knowing. So this is a guided journey. You can set yourself up to do this, and get yourself comfortable, get a journal. If you're watching the recording, pause the video now and go to the audio of this guided journey. Okay, wonderful. Thanks for being willing to do that journey with your inner wisdom ways of knowing. Gave you some reflection and journaling time. And now the other journey I want to give you is to connect with your inner visionary, which, yes, it can be the Neptune of you, but it's more than the Neptune of you. It's that one of you that is holding that greater vision and that aspiration. And part of this Neptune Jupiter cycle that we're in is about seeding your expanded visionary self. So let's go have an experience with your inner visionary to support you in that. So as before, we're going to set it up. Get yourself comfortable. You can be moving with this. Many of you like to do embodied movements with your inner visionary. I'll bring some of that in. It's choice-based. You can also be lying down or sitting, whatever's right. So those of you watching the recording, you want to stop the recording now and go to the audio of the guided journey. So thanks so much, everyone, for being willing to do that last journey to explore your inner visionary in a different way than just an image of some character that shows up. It's in you on all levels, including with nature. And just a tip, you can go ahead and whatever came to you in both of these journeys, if it was fruitful for you, keep it with you. Especially now as we're in the seed point with the Jupiter-Neptune cycle, you might periodically just bring the body movement back, or the image, the nature image, and just feed that aspiration to grow something, you know, and also honor the commitment to let go of the too small beliefs that no longer serve you. So grateful that you've been with us in this journey, whether it's been live or recorded. And I want to give you a very short completion process, threshold process to end, and thank everyone for being here. So all it is a very simple breath exercise, just like you did at the beginning, and yet it honors opening up to this journey, very gently completing it, ending it. It's really important to have thresholds. So begin with just taking a nice deep breath in and honoring everything that you've explored and experienced here. And if it's congruent for you, invite you to make some movements with your hands or your body. Gather in the experiences, breathing in with gratitude wherever your psyche took you, whatever happened for you in the engagement with the archetypes and the information. The inner astrology journey isn't about the head. That's the mind's important, but it's really about the energy. It's really about your own engagement with this mysterious parts of yourself, your archetypal self. So just gather in. Thank you, thank you, thank you with gratitude. And then invite you to take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, just feel yourself grounded on the earth. Feel that gratitude to Mother Earth for the precious gift of life. One more breath in, breathe in the sky, the magnificent, open, expansive part of yourself, breathing the great privilege of life breath, breathing it in, exhale. And one more time, just breathe gently into your heart with gratitude for yourself, for the mysterious uniqueness you are, for all the inner and outer resources. And just great gratitude. We've all been here. And join me if it's congruent. May we offer up to all beings the gift of our journey together as a blessing, that all beings may grow and expand into their deepest knowing and heart energy. So may you travel well with this information. And thank you so much for being with us. Take good care.